November 5th will bring forth the most highly anticipated election in decades. We're now 24 days away and anything can happen. Many experts, they're saying there's going to be a very tight road to the 270 electoral votes needed to win this race. Now, the election had quite a bit of twists and turns, but as we narrow down to the final days, we will keep you up to date with the most important bullet points. The headlines, they're completely all over the place. You have President Barack Obama out stumping for Kamala Harris. Donald Trump doing an unorthodox blue state tour. Then CBS in 60 Minutes, they're actually being under fire for potential election interference. The list goes on. It's endless. Now, as the headlines and news clips, they all have their importance. I think the most important thing to consider now is the recent polls. According to 270towin.com, Trump is leading in 20 states and Kamala Harris is leading in 21 states. Now, when we look at these particular states that both Trump and Harris are leading in, what we're going to see is there is if Trump is leading in a particular state, it's a complete lead. And then if Kamala Harris is leading in a particular state, then she have a complete lead in that particular state. So it's very clear. I'm actually pulling up these polls so I can go over them with you. So now, when it comes to the national, so when it comes to the national polls, Kamala Harris, she's leading at 2.8%. Arizona, Donald Trump takes the lead at 1.2%. When it comes to the state of Georgia, this one is really important. In the state of Georgia, there is a tie, 47.4%. So both candidates, they're in a deadlock in the state of Georgia. So Georgia, it could actually go to anybody. When it comes to Michigan, Harris has a very, very, very slim lead at 0.1%. Now, when we look at Nevada, Trump is leading at 0.6%. North Carolina, Donald Trump, 1.2%. Pennsylvania, Donald Trump, 0.5%. Wisconsin, Vice President Kamala Harris has a lead of 0.3%. Now, this is what I was talking about when I say in some states, a particular candidate has a gigantic lead. When it comes to California, Vice President Kamala Harris, she have a 25% lead over former President Donald Trump. So we could kind of say that California is going to be a blue state. There's no argument about that. Now, when it comes to Florida, Donald Trump has a 5.2% lead, and that looked like Donald Trump is going to sweep the state of Florida. Now, a bigger gap he has is in Montana. In Montana, Donald Trump leads at 19%. In Ohio, he has a 7.2% lead. Now, when we look at Texas, he has a slimmer lead, 6%, which is still pretty good for the state of Texas for Donald Trump. In the state of Maryland, Vice President Kamala Harris, she's leading at 28.8%. We're going to give the state of Maryland to Vice President Harris. We're going to give her the state of Massachusetts as well, where she leads at 29.3%. In Minnesota, she has a 6% lead over President Donald Trump. When it comes to Virginia, Vice President Harris, she has a 7.6% lead. And also in New Hampshire, she has a 9% lead. Iowa, Donald Trump is leading by 5%. North Dakota, it goes to Donald Trump. He has a 27% lead. And then when it comes to South Carolina, we have Donald Trump with a 10% lead. In Alaska, Donald Trump has a 9% lead. Indiana, 16.5% lead to Donald Trump. But when it comes to Nebraska, that's when Kamala Harris takes over again. She has a 8.4% lead. Delaware, 18.5% lead. So it definitely looked clear that Kamala Harris will have Delaware. At this moment, New York is showing blue. At this moment, New York is showing a lead for Vice President Harris, and it looked like a 13.5% lead. Donald Trump will have a lot of work to do in the state of New York in order to aggressively take that state from Kamala Harris. I don't know if it's possible, but I know that is one of the states that Donald Trump believes that he can turn red. Colorado, 11% lead, Kamala Harris. New Mexico, Kamala Harris, 7.6% lead. Connecticut, Kamala Harris, 16% lead. Kamala Harris has Connecticut. Kamala Harris has Rhode Island, 16.5% lead. She also have Maine at a 13% lead. And now there's two polls that we're looking at in the state of Maine. So that's actually giving her, in one poll, give her 13% lead. Another poll give her 27% lead. When it comes to Missouri, Donald Trump, 11.5%. Arkansas, Donald Trump, 15%. Washington, Kamala Harris, 21%. When it comes to Oklahoma, Donald Trump has a staggering lead of 16%. Nebraska, 17%. All West Virginia, 27%. And when it comes to Utah, Donald Trump leads at 32%. So we're definitely going to give Donald Trump Utah. And Vermont, as well as, Vermont, Kamala Harris has a 41% lead. So there's no doubt that she will be taking Vermont. Oregon, she have a 5% lead in Oregon. So Kamala Harris actually now showing that she have 20 states and Donald Trump has 20 states that he's leading in. The mix-up was in, what state was this? There was one state where they counted twice. Let me see what state that was. That was in the state of Maine. So Kamala Harris has 20 states. Donald Trump has 20 states. So that's very, very tight. Now, where it's not tight at is in the battle states. In the battleground states, it's not looking good for Vice President. Vice President Kamala Harris, she is really doing bad in the battleground states. Overall battleground states, Donald Trump has a 0.4 lead, 4.4% lead. When it comes to Arizona, he has a 0.5% lead. When it comes to Nevada, he has a 0.2% lead. Out of the 7 battleground states, Donald Trump leads in 6 of them. Kamala Harris only lead in 1, and that's Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, she has a 0.3% lead. When it comes to Michigan, Donald Trump, 0.9. When it comes to Pennsylvania, Donald Trump, 0.4. And we know that it's said whoever wins Pennsylvania pretty much wins the White House. When it comes to North Carolina, Donald Trump, 0.5. And Georgia, Donald Trump, 0.5. So it's a very tight race. However, it do look more favorable to former President Donald Trump than it does to Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, many experts are saying this is because of the way that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have been running their campaign. They have been running their campaign where they have been dodging the press. They completely have been dodging real questions. Kamala Harris, she runs from a real question. She has this thing where if she's confronted in the face of confrontation, she loses her confidence. She loses her confidence and she starts delivering word salads. And she also, now I will say recently she hasn't done this. I think that her team has really been on her about it, but she usually start cackling. She start giggling and cackling when she becomes uncomfortable. That is one of the, those are a couple things that has really been hurting her campaign. Her team, they have been scared to put her out in front of journalists. Now they have her on a press tour, and they're only going to friendly journalists that they have relationships, those that are leaning left, and they're getting hit with very, very softball questions. The only the only interview that Kamala Harris had recently where she got pounded or semi-pounded was that interview with 60 Minutes. Now, when it comes to the interview with 60 Minutes, that actually led CBS and 60 Minutes under quite a bit of fire. What's going on is they had released a video. They released the first promo video asking Kamala Harris a particular question, and she answered that question under that promo video. When they released the second, when they actually released the interview, there was heavy editing done where they chopped up and delivered an answer that would be more favorable to Kamala Harris, to her base, and hopefully to those undecided voters. This is not good. This is not how journalists are supposed to do. This is not how media houses are supposed to do. They're really supposed to be completely unbiased. We know as humans, we all have our biases. We all, everyone want a particular person to win because of their own personal interests. However, when it comes to media, they are supposed to be the ones that we rely on to be unbiased, to deliver to us facts, not to try to sugarcoat anything, not to try to sway us one way or the other. But we know that this happens. It has been very transparent in this election. The vast majority of the media has been leaning completely left. The vast majority of the media, they have been team Kamala Harris, Harris Walls. That's what this media has been. When you look at CNN, when you look at MSNBC, and many others, CBS, all the mainstream media and many of the cable networks, they have been leaning toward Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Even social media. Social media has been censoring anyone that has not been projecting the left viewpoints. They have been receiving quite a bit of censorship. So this election is very historic in many ways. Yes, it would be very historical if we were to see a woman become president of the United States. Yes, that will be historical. And then you add her race into there, a black woman, that will be double historical. But there are a few other things that has already been historical that's been going on in this election. Number one, this election has been kind of against democracy, you would say, because in a democratic system, the elected or the nominee, they would actually be nominated by the people. In this election, Vice President Kamala Harris, she was not nominated by the people. She was actually placed in position to be the front runner of her party, of the Democratic Party. That's historical. Never happened in modern electoral history. So that's something that's very historical. Will this change the way that we look at elections in the future? Will the next election cycle be that the party, the Republican Party or the Democratic Party or the Independent Party, they could just place someone in as the front runner without that person getting any votes? Could someone else win the votes, and then the party does not agree with that person, and they want to place their own dog in the race? Will they be able just to wipe out that person who received the votes and put someone else into that position? So yes, that's historic. That's never happened before in our recent time in American politics. So there has been quite a few historical things. The way that the media houses has been planted, we have not seen this type of bias. Honestly, I can say I haven't seen it in my lifetime. Yes, you've seen news networks lean this way and lean that way, but now it's like there's no hiding it. There's no secret. It's straight in your face. I'm for this candidate. In this particular election cycle, I'm for Kamala Harris. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No matter what Donald Trump do, you would never see MSNBC giving him any type of credit, whether it's him or J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, he really slaughtered Tim Walz in their debate. But the pundits at MSNBC and many of them at CNN and many other news networks, they tried their best to make it as if J.D. Vance did not win that debate. They tried to make it as if he was lying, as if he wasn't being forthcoming, he wasn't being truthful. And we know the person that was lying during that debate. It was Tim Walz. It was very clear. The moderator actually called Walz out on one of his bigger lies about his trip to China, and he did not know how to respond to that particular lie. He tried to defend it. Well, he didn't try to defend it, to be honest, up front. He tried to tell his life story. I'm from a small town, 400 people. We used to ride our bikes. Who cares? This is the election debate. This is the election cycle. Nobody cares about you riding your bike. Nobody cares about you coming up from a town of 400. That's not how you're going to win this election. And that's how Vice President Harris and Tim Walz have been planning this whole election cycle. So that's historical. This race, imagine the front runner of a party has not been talking about real issues. Their vice president pick has not been talking about real issues. They spend 85% of their time bashing Donald Trump, trying to fearmonger voters into thinking that if Donald Trump wins, the American system is going to fall, America is going to crash. That's what they've been spending their time doing, is trying to bombard us with this message that if Trump wins, we're not going to have a democracy. America's going to burn in flames. Our families are not going to be protected. They're trying to paint this picture, this Project 2025, and just continue to fearmonger us. But a lot of people are not falling for the fearmongering. A lot of people want to know, Vice President Harris, what are you going to deliver? What are you going to do for the people? A lot of people want to know from Tim Walz, what are you going to deliver in the event something happened to Vice President Harris? Can we trust you as the leader of the free world? And no one feels confident in that ticket as far as them being the leaders of the free world. Now, yes, you have the far left, you have the media, you have the Democratic shields. Yes, they feel comfortable because they have something to gain. You have a lot of corporations that are funding the Harris-Walz campaign because they have something to gain. These corporations, they will run the Harris-Walz White House. A lot of them do not want Donald Trump in the White House because they know that they would not run the White House. It would be Donald Trump and his team running the White House. But with a Harris-Walz White House, they would just be puppets controlled by puppet masters. The same thing we're seeing right now with President Joe Biden. No one knows where Joe Biden's at. No one knows, if he's actually running the country, if he's actually making executive decisions for the country, and no one believes that he is. It's very hard pressed to believe a man that's at his age that's losing his faculties. It's not about his age; it's about his mental capacity. This man is losing his faculties. How do we think that he's running that he's doing the most important job on planet Earth, running the United States, running the government of the United States? There's no way he's running the U.S. There's no way that there's no puppet masters that's controlling every move that he makes. And those same puppet masters, they will control the Harris-Walz White House. Now, let's talk about issues. When it comes to issues of this election, there's three main issues that has been pushed to the forefront. Those issues are abortion, immigration, and the economy. Kamala Harris, she is winning as it relates to abortion. Now, it's supposed to be women's rights issues. However, abortion took over the whole women's rights campaign. So when we talk about women's rights, we're going to talk about birth control. We're going to talk about IVF. We're going to talk about women's health care. Those things, they are important. But then when we're talking about abortion, that's the only thing that it seems that they are pushing as far as their agenda. We know where Governor Walz stands with abortion. We know where Vice President Harris stands with abortion. I don't think that their abortion position will be healthy for the United States of America. As a matter of fact, I think it would be the most damaging thing to the United States of America because it takes away the responsibility from the individual. Now, I'm not going to get into the argument of abortion. I have my views. I'm a father. I have three sons. Each one of my sons, I communicated with them when they were actually in the womb. When they were in the womb, I played games with them where I would tap on their mother's belly and allow them to tap back. If I tap 2 times on the right, then the baby would tap 2 times on the right. If I now go to the left, tap 1 time, then my sons will tap 1 time on the left. Those are actual games I played with them. I talked to them while they was in the womb. I sung to them while they was in the womb. I communicated with my sons while they were in the womb. And even besides that, many other parents can also relate to the fact when your child is in the womb, feeling that child kick for the first time, going to the doctor and being told from the doctor about the baby's heartbeat. So those are things that are realistic, and that makes that baby a human. It makes it more than just a fetus, more than just something that you could just extract out of a person because that person, whatever reason. I don't want to get into that whole argument, but with the abortion claim, I think that it's only right and it's only humane that there should be some type of restrictions. I don't think abortion is healthy in the 9th month because you're killing. I know I'm on social media, so let me strike that word. You are erasing or deleting or terminating a live human being, which is a baby. At 4 months, that's a baby. That's a human being. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months, that is a baby. So we have to be realistic with that. But with that, we do know that Vice President Harris, she takes the lead. One of the recent headlines, it read that abortion has passed inflation as top election issue for women under 30. Surveys, that's what the survey found, a survey from the KFF, which is a health policy research. Now, when it comes to immigration, former President Trump, he's in the lead with immigration. And that is one of the top issues. Many voters, they're voting on immigrations. Many of the one-issue voters, many of them are voting strictly on immigration. And they know that Donald Trump is the only one that can secure the borders of the United States. They know that Vice President Harris was the border czar and that she did a horrible job. She's trying to campaign now on a bipartisan border bill that she said that Trump had caused to not pass through Congress. However, what she's not saying is the details of the bill. The details of the bill was very horrible. It wasn't Trump that caused that bill to fail. It was the actual language of the bill. It was fast tracking immigration for illegal migrants. It was fast tracking where if you're from a handful of countries, you can actually go on the CBP app and you can apply for status in the U.S. You could apply for parole into the U.S. and you could fly to the U.S. opposed to crossing over the border illegally. Those are the type of things that was in the bill, and it was throwing more money to the migrants for housing, for transportation, for food, and other social needs. So that's why that bill didn't pass. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump. It actually had to do with the language of the bill. The other thing is the economy. The economy it has to be the #1 issue because that's what everyone sees. Everybody, they see what their paycheck looked like when they get it, and they see what it looked like after they pay their bills, if they can pay their bills for that month, after they pay their mortgage or their rent, after they go to the grocery store, pay their car note, pay their health insurance. After they do all those things, they know that they are either in debt, they have to use their credit card to help pay off some of that, or they just barely made it through. No one has anything after that because of inflation. So those are the things that are very important this election cycle. So right now, Donald Trump is leading when it comes to the economy. Donald Trump is leading when it comes to immigration. Kamala Harris, she's leading when it comes to abortion. So unless we have a huge influx of voters that their #1 and only issue is abortion, they don't care about the economy, they don't care about strengthening their own wallet, they don't care about the immigration crisis, they don't care about the crime that's happening from the illegal migrants, then they're going to vote strictly for Kamala Harris. But those who care about having a strong economy, having a secure border, a secure America, they're going to vote. They're going to cast their votes for Donald Trump. And if this happens in 24 days from now, we're going to see a Donald Trump White House. The polls are showing it. The polls are showing that Donald Trump is actually he has the greater chance than Vice President Harris because of those battleground states. We went through the states that are very clear for Kamala Harris. We went to the states that are very clear for Donald Trump. So we don't we're not going to try to contest those states, but we saw the ones where there is a little wiggle room, so they can lean either way. But those battleground states, that's what everyone is looking at. And Donald Trump is actually leading now in the battleground states. I do recall some few weeks ago where Kamala Harris, she was leading in those battleground states. But now Donald Trump, 24 days away from the election, he's leading those battleground states. We're going to, every day until the election, we will continue to look at these polls. We will continue to look at the headlines to see what's trending, to see what the voters care about, to see what the likability is that it's going to be a Harris White House or whether it's going to be a Trump White House. I'm going to ask you guys, if you all receive any value from this video, share it, get the word out, like it, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. I want to grow this channel so we could get the message out to the right people so that we can make a difference. We can make an impact. Now, if you like the content in this video, definitely take a look at the video that's right above us. And then also hit that notification bell. Until next time, I look forward to speaking with you.